Hey folks, welcome to another housecoat chat. Your dude in the housecoat telling you what's going on in the world because, well, I'm all day in the housecoat looking stuff up, and yes, I have plenty to say. And all things good, all things bad, don't matter. It's just the way the world is working. And as a dude in the housecoat, and you don't have time, all I can say is that we are going to check to make sure I'm okay and live and the sound is good. And yes, crazy world, eh? Yellowstone, folks, what is going on in Yellowstone and all that? I mean, seriously, I just like to know, are the animals really leaving? And I saw that a deer was drinking out of the hot springs in Yellowstone, and I see all the bears and all the deer, and they're all trying to flee the buffalo. Why are they leaving? Is Mount Stain, I'm not Mount Stain Helen, is Yellowstone going to explode? Who knows? But the radius of that blast, if it is to go the way it is going, all I can tell you is that, well, let's see. Come on now. I want to see if I'm live. Am I live? I hope I'm working. I hope the voice is good. I don't think we're going to worry about it until I'm done recording. If I end up making a video and there's no sound, my apologies. I did check and stuff, but let's just get right into it. Look at the world and how are things exploding. Everywhere in the Western world, folks, I'm talking from Australia to Europe to Canada, America, and such, is an influx of the migration of people that is astronomical, that we are paying for. It is wild. And in Spain, the people have had enough. And yet the mainstream media has not really said boo about what's going on in Spain. And let me tell you, if you thought the protests in Toronto were bad, Spain's people are pissed, just like Ireland, just like UK. There's a whole host of places. Heck, they tried to make the Irish seem like they're extremely racist by saying they're being racist by burning a effigy of pallets with a boat and people in the boat. I don't think that is really racist, other than the people are angry at the effigy, the burning is just a sign, a symbol of their frustration. I don't think it's an actual act of saying they hate people. What they hate is what the government is doing, right? Just like in Canada. Here we are in this country, and yet I think it's 22 months now that I just read earlier in Toronto. Every weekend, a certain intersection is disrupted. And yet, what did they do for Ottawa when the honking was there? They got those people gone. I think we need to bring back Stompy the horse, and I think we need to show that, hey, if it's not good for these people to do, then these people shouldn't protest either the way they are protesting. Right? Am I right? I mean, I'm telling you, after seeing bouncy castles and hot tubs, and yes, the honking was loud, and yes, it was atrocious for the people of Ottawa. I can understand that. But imagine living in all these major cities right now with the constant protest of the conflicts way over there. Way the frick over there, right, folks? It's so far away from Canada, it shouldn't even be bugging us at all because Canadians at the moment, we truly cannot do anything. There's not a thing Canada can truly do other than end their ties with Israel, so to speak, or the Palestinians, or whatever, right? We can't send in peacekeepers. We can't do squat. What we can do is have a left wing personality talking to a doctor from Canada who's on a flotilla to Gaza to try and do what Greta did. But I will tell you what, they will not succeed other than for their own glorified, egotistical, narcissistic view of them helping the world by saying, hey, look at me. I'm filming myself while I go to Gaza. Yes, the people are dying right now, but I'm well fed and I'm taking my time to get there. But meanwhile, I'm going to put it all on a vlog, right? They're just filming themselves being narcissists. Just like the photo of a lady in Ontario at one of the beaches. I'm not going to remember the name of the beach, but what I saw was hilarious. A self portrait of a person who's basically doing a selfie of her little beach zone with her little flag of a country she's saying is oppressed, and she's trying to say she's making a difference. The only thing she's doing is getting a tan, while somebody over there is starving or being bombed or being worse, right? It's human atrocity, and people are just trying to think that, oh, I'm going to do so good by putting up a camera to my face and say, oh, look what I'm doing. Well, it's kind of like what I'm doing right now, right? I just saw the irony and the hypocrisy of what I was just saying in a way. But it don't matter. What I'm doing is a show expressing and hoping viewership. I'm not asking you to acknowledge anything other than to read, folks. And that's my biggest point on this show that I like to try and do and hopefully accomplish is to get you to know more. And by knowing more is going beyond the indoctrination and the 15-second clickbait. You know what alarms me is that I see news from mainstream media that is quicker and ended than I do for some of these online games on our phones where you want to get some free stuff from the game. So you got to watch a commercial, right? Instead of actually buying the thing in the game, you can watch ads. Some of these ads are longer than the news on Israel and Palestine, and it sucks. But people get sucked into it. You got your screen, you scroll up and you scroll down, and you just carry on, right? Oh no, look what Trump, he's canceling the Epstein list. Oh no, look, they're bombing in Israel again. Oh no, the Druze in Syria. Oh no, the Somalians, right? Everything is just bad. Riots in Ireland, people losing their benefits in the States, oh, food stamp, people that didn't deserve these benefits. Holy smoke. I know some of these videos I watch are people claiming that they've been cut off from their food stamps or fake, and people just trying to get clickbait views. But some of these people were really running a scam, man. If you can afford a dually truck, you can afford food. If you can afford a Mercedes, you can afford food. You shouldn't be driving a Mercedes. It's also just like the situation in Canada regarding the food banks. Alarmingly, folks, they're saying that the majority of people now going to the food banks are the newcomers because they're thinking they can get the food because of our generosity. And the generosity is meant for the people that truly, really need the food, that go there begging and ashamed. Not for the people to say, oh, just come here for food. My God and goodness, because it's going to be to the point where we will no longer be able to feed anybody at all because of the greed of people coming here and also sending their money home. Oh, that's a whole nother story, but I won't really get into that. All I could tell you right now is that all the protests and everything that I was talking about, Spain and UK, Europe, Canada, the United States, Australia, yes, folks, Australia. Everybody is being overrun and saturated with a mass influx of people that each country's system of healthcare, education, infrastructure, the roadways, the sewers, the hospitals, the schools are all under strain and stress, and they're bleeding money. And the sad part is, and I mean this is the really sad part, is the amount of the indigenous populations in the country. And I mean indigenous by way of people born and raised in the country, not the new immigrants or the people that have been here 10, 20 years, but the people that were born here. Those people are dying faster than anybody else in each country. In Canada, about 90% or higher of the MAID recipients, those that are choosing medically assistance in dying, are mostly Caucasian and European descent. Listen to that again. We are made to wait in Canada, and that's a bad statement. Made to wait, right? Well, you're made to wait for healthcare. Made to wait for healthcare. MAID is medically assisted in dying, and I truly hate it. I understand for the people that are truly at the end stage of life and don't want to suffer anymore. But for the people that think that they have a mental health problem, or for a youth, or for somebody that's got asthma, that is not dignity. That is Hitler-esque. That is, you know who I'm talking about, the angel of death, Dr. Joseph in the German times, where they killed people because they were disabled, gay, whatever. The history is there. Whatever side of the aisle you fall on for all that history, it is still history, and it sucks. And in Canada, it is thriving. Oh, isn't it thriving? Yes, folks. Well, let's just change the subject to something a little bit different because a couple of things have happened in this world and it's crazy. And I would like to talk about first is the central digital banking currency. The central digital banking currency is a wonderful thing. It's a great thing, they're saying. It'll make things better. It'll make things, smooth. If you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to worry about. Well, folks, central banking digital currency is a nice, wonderful concept, considering now since I was a youth, so like about 12 years, 10 years old, I might have had a bank card back in the day. I think it was more of 12 to 13. But anyways, I remember getting my first bank card, and there was no place really in the Crow's path that I can use it. Maybe the bank at the time, but it was slow to roll out and stuff. And so we're talking the late 80s and stuff. And now everybody's got that little plastic thing and nobody's really carrying around the paper bills anymore. But the government and others would like to see, like the banking industry and people who are asshats and ivory tower people who think they need to control every aspect of our lives, want to control the money. In other words, what they want to do is be able to control what you are going to buy. At first, I especially think in North America, they won't have any restrictions on anything for CD, the central banking digital currency. But I want to go to China now to go and talk to you what's going on over there. Now, this is something that people have to realize is that China is a communist country, and many of our WFNGO, United Nation loving globalist people love what China is doing. In a sense, the central digital banking currency, and I don't have my phone down here, but we'll just pop up my iPad. So this is my iPad. This is also my wallet now in China, basically. If I lose this, I have no access to cash, basically. And the central digital banking currency has gotten so restrictive in China, and I mean restrictive in a really negative positive way to show you what is so restrictive about it is that they're controlling what people can buy, where they can go. If you basically don't conform or, I guess constantly break some small minor rules, they will take your wallet away like the Canadian government did to the truckers and people who donated to the convoy, right? Isn't it strange that they know where $5 came from to the convoy, but we can't find a list for Epstein? Right? Isn't that strange? Like there's a whole host of things I could go on, but enough of that guy. Anyways, I might get demonetized. I'm not monetized, but you know what I mean. This is all for fun, and that's what I'm doing this for, is for fun. Anyways, folks, the central digital banking currency in China right now is basically controlling almost every aspect of person's life in China, where they have to conform to buy what they can buy, and they have to allow themselves, like the 15-minute city idea. Well, folks, that's what's kind of going on over in China. You can't leave your district. You can on occasion, but only if they allow it. See? So in Canada, the United States just passed the Genius Act. And I urge all of you to go look that up, the Genius Act in the United States. They are basically allowing the central digital banking currency to come through. And isn't it strange that the whole Epstein affair thing is about the same time that all this is going on? So it's smoke and mirrors, folks. That's what I mean. Don't believe everything you see on the news. That book back there, it opened my eyes up back in the day. And people, remember, they want control. The people that are so desperate to have Carney not actually do positive negotiations with Trump and America are the same people that want to have China take over the world policing, basically from the United States. Because China seems to be the one that always carries the bat to tell people to behave. Well, the IMF, the WF, and the United Nations, along, of course, with Z, would like to see China become the new world's police. And if they're doing a successful job controlling their citizens with the central bank digital currency, what do you think is going to happen down the road in America and in Canada? It's already getting used in in Ukraine. All the things that the Americans are doing for the Ukrainian government, it's all like basically CD, central bank digital currency payments to the people that are actually working in the Ukrainian government. Isn't it amazing that the Americans are basically funding the Ukrainian government to run. Now, Trump's in office, things might be a little different, but back in like 2022, 2023, the Americans were paying literally the government to run. Why do you think there are so many stories of corruption coming out of Ukraine? It is sickening, folks, sickening. I have seen the luxury vehicles that have been drove into Ukraine that people have bought. Like it's nuts. But anyways, the central digital banking currency is going to be a bane on society. It is going to be a succubus in your life, because the best thing in the world is, honestly, you have cash in your hand and you can spend it where you damn well please, and nobody should be able to tell you what you can do with it. Right? I mean, if you can't afford to eat steak because you're poor, well, you can't afford to eat steak because you're poor. But imagine the government knowing that you're poor and gave you central digital banking currency, and the steak is on sale and you can afford it, but you go to make a purchase and up on the screen says, sorry, your credit score is too low because of your behavior of crossing a street illegally. Jaywalking. That is how close surveillance society is getting. The United Kingdom and China are the most heavily surveilled places in the world, and it shows. And it's going to be even worse now with the rise of AI, all the extra cameras, because everybody has a camera. And since the government has a back door to all our devices, folks, yes, all our devices, and you may not realize it, but they do have a back door. They could turn your camera on, they could turn your microphone on, even without you knowing. That's how deep entrenched they are with our tech companies. And here I am ranting away. It's like 16 minutes and I'm going on and on. Anyways, folks, let's just change it to my favorite apparent politician of the world right now, and that is Mr. Carney, Mark Carney, Marxist carnage, you name it, this two-faced person who says one thing and does another, right? Oh, I only have cash and assets. That's what he said. Cash and real estate, sorry, not assets, when he was trying to run for the prime minister, the leadership role, and during election time. He basically withheld his true wealth until he was on vacation. Yes, vacation. And what day did they release that information on? A frickin' Friday, if I remember. Last Friday. And the story's been going on all this week. 103 violations for conflict of interest. I would like to give a shout out to Moose on the Loose on YouTube and X. Again, people, somebody you should look at and listen to is Moose on the Loose. He is a great guy. And you know what? Give him a look at. Moose on the Loose. He did a deep dive at the 16 pages. He's going to offer more, and I've listened to this guy, and I highly recommend him. I would love to do what Moose on the Loose does, but again, I'm doing this for fun, and I'm not going to want to be one of those guys who are always trying to flash you stuff and say, look at this. Well, there's plenty of people out there doing that. Me, I'm just a dude in a housecoat trying to reach out to as many people that don't do what I do, and that is read and research and everything else, and don't have time because they're at work, they got family, and they got everything. I got basically an empty nester. I'm in my early 50s. I've delivered the newspaper, and I've studied and watched the news my whole life, read the newspaper, dived down on information, read books and everything else, folks. And you know what? That's what needed more, and society has drifted away from being question everything to, oh, we're told to do this. We shouldn't just accept to be, you're told to do this. You just look at all the stuff coming out about just the ouchie, ouchie, Fauci thing, right? You know what that was? And look at all the things that are coming out about that. 600,000 people are possibly dead because of the big mRNA thing, right? I don't want to have this video suppressed. That's why I'm talking a little funny here right now, because I don't want to give out the word that they pick up on that might get me flagged for whatever reason. I'm not trying to be an expert. I'm just a dude in a housecoat who's done a lot of reading. And yes, 600,000 people may have died as a result of getting the juice in Japan. More worldwide, but Japan did a study on their people, and that's what they have come up with, and that is shocking. But back to Carney, folks. Yes, 103 ethnic violations, basically. And guess who are the people that are controlling his ethnic violations in the PMO's office? Privy Council thing, are two former people in the Brookfield Asset Management umbrella. These people known Carney for years, and apparently Carney, from what I heard, and it's probably true, is he picked it all out himself to display for the conflict of interest. And folks, it is a lot. Justin Trudeau, I wish she was back. Oh, I mean it. It is the truth. I don't like the direction Carney's taking our country. I don't like how he's trying to pivot us away from the best trading partner the any nation could ever have. That is Canada. Mexico can say the same thing. Despite what we're hearing in mainstream media, the Americans have buttered our bread for a very long time. They have accepted these tariffs for a very long time on their products going into Canada. And everybody keeps calling this a trade war. Well, this is a trade agreement that was broken by the Canadian side, and the Americans are using their legal means within the U.S. trade agreement, right? The free trade agreement with Mexico, Canada that was signed a few years ago when Trump was the first term, and even with the language from before with the original free trade deal, there's mechanisms in place that Canada can use, Mexico can use, that what they can make it national security. And that's what Trump has done. Has made it about national security, especially with the fentanyl thing. People say, oh, no, it's really not about the fentanyl. We're not a problem. It's only 1% that's getting through. That's 1% that we know of. And considering that there was an email that I read that was given to the court filing for a drug smuggling case from Canada to like California, basically, a dude that says he's from China, basically, offering this person hundreds of thousands of pounds, basically, of material to use in California that'll come from Vancouver. Yes, hundreds of thousands of pounds of chemical precursor goods promised to the individual in California that'll come through a port in Vancouver. And what about the guy, the only guy, just one guy, folks, in the middle of the Okanagan, basically, in that area, Creston, I believe, whatever it was, one guy has been charged with a meth lab that had cocaine, that had marijuana, that had AK-47s, it had M16 pistols, it had Molotov cocktails, it had cash on hand. Only one person has been charged. You're not going to tell me there's no such corruption within our country? I mean, our country is a narco state, and unfortunately, we have a dude that's just letting it all go and continue, and that is with Mark Carney. I mean, seriously, he's not taking anything seriously with Trump. I think he's just delaying it and taking whatever Trump's saying and telling us something different, like he has, elbows up, right? He said, what about the tariffs? Oh, we're going to fight them. But then what did he do during the frickin' election? He quietly reduced those tariffs on the Americans and never said a word, but told us we're going to fight the Americans. That is a two-faced succubus person, man. I mean, come on. And if you think you're any good of Carney, please, the only thing I will honestly say that may be good is the fact that he's an ally of the LGBTQ plus community. I may have missed an acronym or whatever. I like to call it the Alphabet Mafia. Anyways, his child is a part of that group of the Alphabet Mafia. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. It's a lot of acronyms, a lot of letters you guys add, your flags changes and everything else. I have gay friends and people that I know, and it don't matter. If you're a decent person, that is all that I care about. You're decent or you're not. It's really that simple. Yes, folks. 4 different companies and I'm sorry, 9 companies in 4 months have approached Mark Carney that are part of the Brookfield Asset Management thing, umbrella, to lobby for whatever it is that they lobbied for. Just 9 in 4 months. See where all this is going? And yes, he said a blind trust, but guess what, folks? He can step out of the room, but all the other liberals that are on this team are going to vote in favor of it because he's the boss. Isn't that an easy way to make money? I mean, he was even in an interview before he was the Prime Minister of Canada. I believe he was the Bank of England person shortly after his book Values came out, talking on television that they're going to try and make the government use forced compliance on companies to buy these net zero company goals, such as aviation fuel. England was forced to buy fuel from Texas, the only known net zero basic aviation fuel in the world, basically. I mean, there may be others, but from what I've read and what I've heard at the time, and now this is months and almost a year old, the information could be changed and probably there are more companies. But that's the way Mark Carney was talking in this lecture, using forced compliance to force companies to buy products or else, right? And that's what they're going to do. They're going to do it all on the back of the taxpayer. Just take a Brookfield's asset management regarding the housing issues. They're going to let a company come in and build a bunch of modular homes backed by the CMSA mortgage insurance. So in a sense, they won't lose anything, really. And they're going to have people that are going to make money as consultants and everything else. And these are not going to be properties that people are going to buy, folks. These are properties that people are going to have to lease or rent. And that is a shame. It is a shame, shame, shame that we are allowing this crooked person and his wife team, and she's going to be making money hand over fist as well, folks. You have to read, folks. You need to go and listen to some of their words that they speak of and different things. I mean, if you just type in Diana Fox Carney lectures, you're going to come up with a whack of them on Google. So check her out, folks, and listen to what she has to say. And honestly, think to yourself, is this the direction I want our country going? Same with Mark Carney. Listen to the way the man has spoken. I mean, the Indians walked out on him the other day because they don't believe a word he said. Here he is talking all this time, we're going to build infrastructure, infrastructure, infrastructure. And the other day, what did he say? All this is just the start of the talk of building infrastructure within Canada. But he's already promised billions, folks. We lost billions in EVs. We're losing billions in giving out to countries for gender studies. And why? Why is right. We have so many problems here in Canada. And you know what? I am almost at 30 minutes, folks, and I can't believe I kept going and talking, and I guess I had a lot to say. I do want to cut it shortish. Remember, folks, the scone is lit for, in memory of the people that were supportive of me and everything else, and also for the people who watch this channel. I'm glad to say that I've had a few likes and comments on my X channel, so to speak. I have Dude in the Housecoat. It's where I'll be putting it up on X later. And the positivity is nice, not very much negative and stuff, which is really good. It don't matter. I'm here doing this for fun and your awareness. I do hope you read. I do hope you go out and look beyond the headlines to find the truth and not just the indoctrination and half-assed black truth white lies, folks. Also, go to an SPCA. That's all I ask, because just go and visit it once. You don't have to adopt a pet, but you can go at least look. Also, folks, positive vibes. Take care. Enjoy your night and Saturday. And I'm looking forward to hopefully sunshine soon, but rain, rain, rain is all I see lately. Rain. Where is my global warming? Take care, folks. Love y'all and enjoy your night.